Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly. Well, welcome back to the DCL podcast, your podcast helping your family cruise a little smarter, sharper, easier,
faster,
something like that. Faster.
Better.
I can't even remember what I'm supposed to be saying.
It's smarter.
Better. Smarter. There we go. Let's cruise a little smarter. And I'd like to welcome back to the show all the way down in Florida. How you doing today, Christy?
I am well. How are you, Steve?
Not too bad. Joining us down in the City of Angels, Chris Bright. How you doing today, Chris?
Oh, you know, I'm living my dream. It's almost 5:00 somewhere here in Los Angeles, and it's a great day to be with friends.
You're getting ready to cook. Or maybe Seth's cooking. I don't know. Well, we are doing our Cabana show, which is going to be just our monthly show where the three of us get together and talk about all kinds of fun, different topics. We're going to touch on some things coming to the Disney Wish. What's up with the Disney Wonder down in San Diego? Got a couple of thoughts on Price Fix versus a la carte in Palo. I hadn't really thought of and kind of had an experience with. And then we're going to touch on Chris's return to Disney World with his new foster child. So what do we want to start with first? You want to go with the Wish? Or you want to go with the Wonder, Christy?
Start with the Wonder.
Okay, let's go with the Disney Wonder. There was a huge hole that all of us were wondering.
Wondering. Oh, God.
Disney Wonder. And we got our news about a week ago when it was announced that Disney Wonder is set to set sail from the fall of 2022 to the spring of 2023 out of San Diego. It's going to feature 3, 4, 5, and 7-day cruises. They're going to have Halloween on the high seas and also very maritime cruises sailing out of there. Not all of the sailings, but the sailings will venture to different ports, kind of the familiar ones from the West Coast when she's in San Diego: Mazatlan, Cabo San Lucas, Puerto Vallarta, Ensenada. And they tried to go to Catalina Island before the shutdown, and that got shut down. So I don't think she ever went, but that is back on the schedule now too. I don't know much about Catalina Island, Chris. Do you have any thoughts on Catalina Island?
I'm a Catalina connoisseur. No, I will say Catalina is a desert, a 20-mile like deserty mountain in the middle of the ocean or off the coast of California, I guess. And it has a really cool history. It's got one small town, but it's unique because it's an island off the coast of LA, and that's a cool thing to go see. They also have buffalo that were released on the island, I want to say for a film back in the like 50s or 30s or some long time ago. And now those buffalo are like everywhere. And my youth connection to Catalina Island is that I did a sleepaway camp there when I was a kid. We like stayed in a science camp and did science experiments for a week and kayaked. And I actually have a Garibaldi tattoo on my arm because it's the California state fish. And I saw like thousands of Garibaldi off the coast of Catalina. So it had a like imprint on my brain. So I'm excited. In fact, I would actually seek out a cruise that stopped at Catalina just because it's not every day you get to say you've been to Catalina Island.
How many cruises are going there?
It's a fair amount. It's certainly not all of them, but you have several opportunities. They're really trying to spice up the season because they don't normally do seasons this long out of San Diego. So I think Catalina is like, ooh, we could do that. It's funny because Catalina is a bit north of San Diego. So the ship actually has to sail up the coast a bit to get to Catalina and then back down to get to Mexico, wherever they're stopping in Mexico, probably Ensenada on those cruises.
It's kind of directly across from Long Beach, I think, kind of the Orange County, Long Beach area. When we fly in, we go right by Catalina Island and then on into Long Beach. I'm curious to see what kind of port adventures that they have available for people there.
Golf carts, kayaking. You can drive golf carts around the city of Avalon. They probably will have wine tasting. There's this thing that was made up for the movie Step Brothers, the Catalina Island Wine and Food Festival or something, and then they made it real because it got popular from that movie. So there's like a whole wine tasting scene on Catalina now. So there's options, but it won't be like, it is not a typical cruise port. I will tell you that much.
And I know you're a big sports ball fan, Chris. Did you know that the Wrigley family used to own Catalina Island, and they used to have actual spring training for the Chicago Cubs out there back in the day, a long time ago. I don't even know what year that would have been. 30s, 40s, something like that.
Well, you learn something you never wanted to know every day.
I guess just to kind of finish out about the Wonder. So the Wonder she's getting ready to go through the Panama Canal. And then in March, she will start doing sailings down to Mexico this coming March. And then from there, she'll transition. She still has a sailing over to Hawaii and back. And then she'll transition up to Alaska. And after the Alaska season is done, as she normally does, she'll come down to San Diego and sail around in the fall. But she's just going to stay there, which I think is neat to have a Disney ship on the West Coast.
Yeah, I think it's actually much needed. Disneyland is a really big market for the Walt Disney Company, and the Port of Long Beach or the Port of Los Angeles are really close to Disneyland, so it's a little unusual that San Diego has become the home in my mind, but part of that is that the best cruise port is monopolized by Carnival out of Long Beach, and so I don't know where Disney would even port out of Long Beach or port out of LA, but yes, we deserve a ship. We're getting a ship. It's not the Fantasy, which is my long-term fantasy. Look at that dad joke. But
I don't even have the words.
Yeah, but let's be honest, San Diego is a much better place to sail out of, in the sense that there's like so much stuff to do in the city. There's many hotels, and I know friends of the shows have stayed like literally right across the street. So you wake up, you open up the windows, and there's the Disney Wonder Park right there. So it's just a great place to sail from, and not too, like an hour and a half, I think, maybe 2 hours at the most with traffic up to Disneyland or so. So pretty easy.
An hour and a half, 5 hours at the most with traffic.
Okay.
Let's not underestimate California traffic, but it's very close sometimes. Also, you can take the Pacific Surfliner, and then there is a train stop in Anaheim. And buses that would take you straight to Disneyland. So there are lots of options. San Diego is a beautiful port. It's a beautiful city. It also has the world famous San Diego Zoo, which, is probably second only to Animal Kingdom in terms of immersive, high quality, like zoological environment. So there's a ton of stuff to do in San Diego. And I love the port. It is a convenient port because there's like 20 hotels right across the street.
And I'm going to put you on the spot right now, Chris, because I've been thinking about this. I just haven't reached out to talk to you about this. We did a show about sailing out of San Diego a long time ago, several years ago. And I'd love to do one in the next week or so to kind of update that one.
We should.
Get out of the books and talk about some of the things that you can do in San Diego. Okay, Christy, I feel like we've left you out of the conversation because we're out on the West Coast talking about all the stuff going on out there. You with your 80 ships out there on the East Coast, us with our one. But why don't you lead us into the next story we're going to talk about?
Okay. I will stop looking for dining reservations for this weekend then. Our next story talks about some of the changes for the Disney Wish. Or not the changes, but some of the information that's been released. So Disney released this very colorful picture about actually something that Chris really likes the theme of. Chris, tell us.
Yeah, Christy in our like text thread was like, I don't care at all about that. And I was like, well, I do, Christy. But
that wasn't the point.
No, it wasn't the point. But Disney did announce that they're not doing Sweet on You, which is the Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse romantic sweet shop. They're not doing Vanellope's, which was the Wreck-It Ralph sweet shop. Instead, they are doing something about emotions. I don't actually remember the name of this place, but it's themed to Inside Out. So it has sculptures of sadness and joy and anger and fear and disgust. And then they have Inside Out fun themed treats. So yeah, if we're being honest, Imagineering took all of this theming straight from an attraction at Pixar Pier. There's something called the Emotional Whirlwind, and they just probably built 2 of every statue, and they're going to put them on the ship because they already have them in the theme parks. But I love the theme. It's great. What Christy's excited about is all the other stuff that they also announced unrelated to the Inside Out Sweet Shop.
Well, unrelated to the extra cost sweet shop, which is sort of where I walk by it typically.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I have never one time been inside that sweet shop. Not on any of these cruises that sweet shop has existed in.
Okay,
not once.
Well, it's worth it for the theming.
Yeah, it's very cute. You see it when you're walking out of cabanas or into cabanas. So I've seen it. I've just never walked in. So anyway, some of the other big piece, or one of the big pieces of information that came out, was about Olaf's Royal Picnic. So it's basically going to take the Royal Court theme, not royal court, that royal tea, that royal, the princess tea.
Yeah.
That cost $80 billion per child. And they're making it now Olaf's Royal Picnic. Also cost $80 billion per child. But I don't know. I might be interested in this. So I am a little bit bummed that Scott did not go. So we are using, for our example, Scott Sanders' DCL Cruise Line blog article. Disney did release the prices and more of the information, like what all the kids are going to get. But it's kind of cool. Like, whatever. It's still going to cost like $260 per child, I believe, and $60 per adult. So $1 million to go to this. But they are now giving every child that comes in, instead of just like a jewelry box that is very, generally speaking, female themed, this is going to be maybe more gender neutral. But all the kids will get little gifts and keepsakes. There's going to be a reversible troll plush, themed picnic blanket, custom Nordic style mandolin, which, do we need a whole bunch of children running around with a mandolin on a cruise ship? Not sure.
That's what I was just wondering. I can't wait to see Blake playing the mandolin.
He would fully play it. He has a mandolin, so he'll just keep on playing it. Oh, there's going to be a sing-along, apparently, for Reindeers Are Better Than People.
Where they teach you to play the, mandolin?
Apparently. Oh, my God. I might have to go to this.
I wish that it wasn't just for kids, but that's how I feel about everything.
You
can pay $260 and get your own little mandolin and reversible troll doll?
No, but you can join me and my kid if you'd like and pay your adult price.
Okay, my $60 for food.
Oh, yeah, it'll be bad. You could be my plus one. So anyway, I'm very excited about that. Then there's going to be, they also announced that when the children enter the cruise ship for the first time, every family, they're going to be greeted by, they're going to continue on. It sounds like this little show, tiny little show in the atrium. I am all here for that. But they are going to make their first wish and they get a little wand, and I want a wand. Do you think my kid will share his wand with me?
I think that they need to amend.
Yeah, we're children.
This is my personal policy. They need to amend anything that says each child will receive and replace it with each child or traveling party will receive. Because this is the sort of thing that Disney adults love. And we obviously would wave our little wand and pretend like we were 4 because we didn't get enough love when we were children. And it's just part of the special magic. So anyway, I want the wand, and Blake has to watch his back because I might just steal it from Blake.
You will have a child that you will be boarding this cruise. You won't have a 9-year-old child, but you will, in theory, have a child that you can steal their wand.
So you think they'd give it to a 13-year-old?
It says child.
Okay. All right. I'm into it. Never mind. I take it all back.
Can't take them to Palo. They should get a wand. And that will be your story when you are walking through the ship.
Also, there's an important detail that I don't even think Scott Sanders included, which is the chandelier in the Wish has been announced to be a wishing star. And so I think that part of that intro show will be that star activating and everybody waving their wand at it.
Ugh.
So it's going to be magical and beautiful. We're all going to cry. Then we're going to go down that slide into the kids club and pick up Thor's hammer and just have a whole day.
I love that you threw Thor's hammer in the middle of all this.
I just needed to cover as much IP as possible.
Pick up Thor's hammer and take on Kylo Ren, and we'll just go from there. So, yeah.
Anthony has joined us later, joined us a little into the conversation, and wants to know what happens if he has 2 kids. Well, it does say every child.
Every child. I think you get 2 wands, Anthony.
Yep. You each get one, and then you can hide them from your kids and give them to Chris and I instead.
I'm pretty excited to see what they're going to be able to do with that Grand Hall, just all the different technology that, as you come on board, they're going to have that. And then I think you're going to touch on this a little bit later, that the See You Real Soon show that they have.
Like at
ships.
The end.
Yeah.
The final night sailing will have a return to the Grand Hall where they're going to raise their wands with the fairy godmother to ignite a spectacular farewell show. Oh, yeah. If I could handle the people, then I will go to that show. And if it's not at 10:30 at night. And then there's also going to be a Who's Behind the Curtain on the Grand Hall stage, a playful game show where guests answer questions to reveal the identity of hidden characters. I love all of this stuff.
Honestly, this is the stuff that I was waiting for.
Yes.
Because
this is why
ship theming is cool, right? And nice and whatever. But like, what you really want to hear is like, what experiences is the Wish going to have that make it better than all the other ships? What experiences is the Wish going to have that make it the newest ship in the fleet? And I don't remember there being, actually, I take that back. There was something brand new on the Dream, which was the Aqua Coaster, whatever, Aqueduct. But in general, the Dream and the Fantasy were just bigger versions of the experiences that you could already have on the Magic and the Wonder. But the Wish is adding experiences that do not exist on the other ships, and I think that we're going to see that as a theme for the next two ships that they release.
Mm-hmm. So usually the first and the second ship are the exact same. Like almost nothing is different about them. So
but theming, right? Usually it'll be decorated differently.
Yes. That is true. So then this article talks about Luna, or that's the theater, basically.
It's the D Lounge, basically, kind of the replacement of the D Lounge, right?
Yep.
Where they're going to basically be doing family stuff.
But it's two stories, which is cool.
With a new LED screen wall, a stage, and a bar. There'll be a variety of live shows designed for families to laugh, sing, and compete together. And then Steve's favorite show.
Oh, the Villain Show. They're going to have a Villains Game Night? Yeah, Villains Game Night. Guests will answer questions amid the jeers and sneers of nefarious Disney villains such as Olaf, Captain Minnie, and others.
That's not the names.
I'm just saying if anybody's actually listening.
The nefarious villain Olaf and Captain Minnie, who is breaking the glass ceiling to be the captain over Mickey.
He stole poor Captain Mickey's job. He's down there swabbing the deck now.
Yeah. First mate Mickey.
Yeah. No, actually, it was like Cruella de Vil. I think the Queen. What is it? The Mean Queen? The
Evil Queen?
Evil Queen, and some other villains as well.
It says Cruella. Yeah. Gaston, Hades. How do you say that?
Hades.
Yeah. Maleficent. And more. They don't even mention. This one doesn't mention the Evil Queen. Okay, so then there'll be Disney Songbook, which will put guests in the spotlight as they belt out Disney songs and showcase their star talent for a live camera crew. Wait, what? I would be held out singing until I have to do this in person. They're like in front of a camera.
You're up on the stage ready to sing, and they're telling you the rest of the story, and you're like out of there.
That would be exactly like just happened just now. And then there's going to be a live grand finale event for Disney Uncharted Adventure, an all-new interactive experience that uses the guest mobile device to unlock hidden adventures aboard the ship. So is this the new...
it's Midship Detective Agency, but like instead of waving around pieces of paper, you're using your smartphone, which some of you will love, some of you will hate. I think unplugging during a vacation, there is a crowd that loves that. But we all have to face the sad reality that technology is a part of vacationing now. And this game does sound cooler than Midship Detective Agency.
Which is super fun. Yeah. We actually only did it the last cruise finally. And I definitely intend to play again. It was a lot of fun to run around that ship and answer those questions. The reality is too with cell phones, and I think Disney, at least on some level, maybe they'll improve their internet though, right? If I have to carry my phone, wouldn't it be nice if I could actually check my email? Or post things to social media, which is what I told Disney when they had a little chat with me one day about how I felt like my DCL, like they actually set up an appointment and called and asked me what I felt about things. And I'm like, we could really use some better internet so that we can post to social media. Wouldn't Disney love that if people were posting what a good time they were having? But the reality is Disney knows we are all carrying our phones anyway because a lot of people are using it for their watch. They take pictures on it. The phone cameras are amazing and we're all using it for our camera nowadays. So we have it anyway. So we can use it to, make the sign do stuff for us.
Yep. I think it's great. And Midship Detective Agency, to Chad's point, was a new offering from Magic to Wonder. So it sounds like they are iterating on that for this class of ships and doing something a little more immersive. And also it's incorporated in a grand finale event that looked from the pictures like it included fireworks. So that sounds so much fun to me. I want it and I can't wait.
Luna does look awesome. It looks like a pretty amazing, and it looks like they're going to have some tech to be able to play around with that as well, kind of like the atrium, and then also
and Luna's a beautiful short film. Like that is a theming beautiful minefield. I love it.
Do you want to talk about the Hero Zone too, Christy?
Some of this stuff was basically old news, but they've maybe repackaged it or shown, I don't know, another picture. But basically, the Hero Zone, we actually know is on one of the upper decks, right? It is a completely new category of active family play. It's a futuristic sports arena where physical activity will blend with imagination, offering highly produced show experiences in addition to free play sports. So it does look like there's like a basketball court still there. And then they also have the inflatable, which they're showing us the incredible themed inflatable, which I want to do all of this. Have you guys seen it? And cool. You like climb through and it's like a obstacle course. I think it would be fun. So they're going to have Incredigames, Games, a high energy game show featuring an elaborate obstacle course of over-the-top physical challenges, each inspired by the dynamic characters of Pixar's The Incredibles. My only concern is that it's going to be a situation where they pick one family, and if you're not that one family picked, you're going to have a 9-year-old that's going to be crying in the corner. Or maybe I just will. They're also apparently in this space going to do the Jack Diaper Dash.
The very popular Jack Diaper Dash.
Yeah.
They haven't brought that back yet, have they? I haven't seen it. Have you, Christy? So. Yeah.
Well, yeah. No, diaper children that can't wear masks, like hanging about each other without being 6 feet apart. Yeah. That's
crawling on
people screaming at the diaper children. That's not happening quite yet, but apparently it is making its comeback at some point.
Yeah. I haven't seen too many families with really young kids on, but maybe I just haven't noticed them lately as far as that goes. So.
Well, the nursery's been closed still, right? So that's a whole reason right there not to bring babies on the ship. If you don't have any time away from your baby,
that's why you bring a grandma.
Grandma privilege.
Yeah. Anything else about the new offerings on the Wish from that article, Christy?
No, because we already talked about the Little Mermaid show coming out, and that was it.
And do you think the Olaf's picnic extravaganza, Olaf's Royal Picnic, that'll probably be in the Frozen restaurant? What do you think?
100,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, that Princess Tea thing was probably like a little dated, and also you can do it on all the other ships. So they're like, let's do something new for this ship. But the problem with hyper-themed restaurants is, what do you do with them all day?
Right.
Especially the level of immersion that they're trying to create for that Frozen. I don't even know what they're going to do for the Marvel restaurant, because they have all that built-in tech so that they can tell the Marvel story. So it's like these spaces are so locked into meal times that they have to find some like fun, creative ways to use them. And this to me is a good idea, but it is a cash grab, and not a lot of people will be able to afford it.
Well, and even if they can afford it, they may choose not to, right? So that's just, one of those things.
I feel like you're going to have to go on the Wish like 4 or 5 times. There's going to be so much stuff going on.
Yeah,
there.
I feel like I wish we were doing a back-to-back, if I'm being honest, because I'm like, I don't even know everything. I want to do it all, and you just like can't.
No. And that's the only thing I don't like about, like, they're announcing all this cool stuff, and we were already in a situation where you can't do everything on a Disney cruise. And now it's new stuff, and it's on a 4-night or a 3-night cruise. And it's like, how do you do that? And then how do you offer it for enough families to be able to experience?
There we go. Captain America's All-American Brunch, Chris. That would be good. Every child gets a shield. Captain America's All-American Brunch. What do you think, Chris?
I love it. I want it. Again, this is the problem.
Will you take my child?
I want to do it. I'll take Blake.
Okay. Thank you.
And I feel like when we were at Disneyland, we had our foster kiddo do a picture trying to remove the sword from the stone. It was cute and fun. And I realized this generation's sword in the stone is, can you lift Thor's hammer? So they probably already do, as if I'm like the Imagineer with a creative idea, but they should do like that in the kids club where like they have a hammer and not every kid can pick it up because of whatever technology. And then one kid gets to pick it up and they get to be the cool kid. That's my idea, Disney. Take it. Run.
Or at least at Avengers Campus, they should have like his hammer there somewhere around there where people can try and pick it up.
Yep.
All right. So before we get out of here, I got one take on Palo. By the way, did you guys know that Palo has a brunch?
No, they do? Are you sure? You must be thinking about cabanas.
Cabanas. No. So, okay. So this is the second time that I got to experience Palo on our last sailing. And Wake went with the price fix menu. And I think I'm going to do that next time, or prefix. And I did the a la carte option. And Chris, I want to get your take on it. Christy, have you done the a la carte options for dinner?
Yeah, we've talked about this once. Dave and I each get one, and then we like divide everything up. It works out very well.
Yeah, and I think maybe as a bad host, I wasn't listening to you talk about that because
maybe you were looking for dining reservations while somebody was talking.
Maybe I was, but like I ordered the calamari, and in the past you could get calamari right with the prefix, or it wasn't even prefix. It was just you got a calamari. It was like a single serving of calamari for you.
Right.
There was like so much calamari. It was ridiculous. So just be forewarned, if you're doing the a la carte version of the menu, depending upon how hungry you are, how much you normally eat, the servings are very big. They're very generous.
Wait, that calamari is on the prefix menu, or is that what you're saying? You said a la carte version of the menu.
Yeah. There you can get calamari via the a la carte as well. So it was a huge portion of calamari.
Yeah, but if someone's trying to save money, what they do is they order one of the prefix and one of the a la carte, and then you guys split the calamari. Then you can each order a salad if you want. Then you can have your entrees.
But even the a la carte salad that I got was huge.
Yeah.
Like it would, like Wake and I would have split something like that. So I didn't realize how much food I think like the main portions itself, like I actually got I think it was the rockfish this time was reasonable, but the other side dishes were huge. So I don't know, Chris, what did you think? Yeah, so
if you're ordering the a la carte menu on the a la carte menu and you order sides, first of all, yay Disney, keep it like this. They won't, but they only charge like $4 for a side. But they're huge. They are huge. So that is good on them. And actually, if you want to see all the sides, Sarah from gluten-free, dairy-free Walt Disney World just posted on her Instagram page. I think she's under Snorris, so SNORRIS on Instagram. She just posted like all of the sides at Palo. They did that for their dinner. They're like, let's get every single side and see what they look amazing.
Oh, the food was incredible, but just all I'm bringing up, I guess, is just be forewarned because like I got way more food than I could eat. Yeah, we shared it around with everybody at the table, but there was still like tons of calamari left. So, any thoughts about that, Chris?
We did this. I think now I can't remember if I know for sure I did a la carte. I don't care what Seth did. I wasn't paying attention. He might have done prefix now that I think about it, but I did a la carte.
Oh, the honeymoon is over.
Yeah. So the reason I did a la carte is because there are a bunch of those sides you can't get in the prefix. And the sides are so good. I've mentioned many times that I am a mac and cheese connoisseur. And that mac and cheese was probably the best mac and cheese I've had in a Disney restaurant. The French fries are French fries, but they sprinkle them with Parmesan and they make them into a sculpture, which is fun to look at. So I just encourage you all to get the sides at Palo. If that means you have to order not prefix, then do it because the sides at Palo are amazing. And also, I said this before, so I'm a broken record, but that was one of the things missing from Disney Cruise Line is that they didn't have a traditional steakhouse. And now this menu is a traditional steakhouse menu, including one of those giant steaks with the bone in it that you can share with someone and including a bunch of fun sides. And it's a steakhouse. So I like that. I'm excited for it. And I think it'll balance really great against a fancy French restaurant because the fancy French restaurant is the opposite of a steakhouse.
I totally agree. I loved all the sides that we had, and the meal was incredible. So I like the direction that they're going. Just be forewarned that some of the sides can be a little bit bigger depending upon what your needs are or how hungry you are. So I think that's all I've got. Should we go around the horn a little bit? No, Chris, you need to get out of here. Chris, any final? We didn't touch on your Walt Disney World trip. I apologize.
Well, we're going to have an entire episode to touch on it. I just want to do like a stay tuned, because even though we are a Disney Cruise Line podcast, Seth and I, you will get to experience what it's like to go to Disney World for the first time with a kid, which I think is a unique perspective, especially first time with a teenager and you've never taken a kid to Disney World before. But also we booked some really cool stuff. We're doing the Wild Africa Trek, which is a cool, very expensive tour that you can take. And we're also going to see the new Cirque du Soleil show, Drawn to Life, which I'm a fan of Cirque. For me, that's sort of the only reason I would go to Vegas, because we don't really gamble and there's amazing Cirque shows in Vegas. So it's cool to be able to experience that at Disney Springs. I almost said Downtown Disney. And then we're also staying at Coronado Springs. And I don't know how many people have stayed at Coronado Springs or if they want to hear our thoughts on that type of resort. So we will do all of the chatting, and we'll give a nice trip report on it. So stay tuned to the feed for that. Maybe I'll even try to convince Seth to come on. Ooh.
Oh, I like that.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts about Drawn to Life. And Chrissy, are you guys going to be able to meet up at Three Bridges?
Hopefully. My schedule's changed because I have to go speak in Michigan that week. And so I will not be near Chris for as much as I wanted to.
Oh, man. That Three Bridges was awesome, Chris. So I hope you guys get a chance to go over there and check that out.
I've been to Three Bridges and I enjoyed it a lot. And then I am not going to Animal Kingdom on the day that Christy's in town. So I may have to go to Nomad Lounge on my own so that we can have a proper churro throwdown and see what's best.
I know. I am so sad we're not going to have that together, but I still expect to get a play-by-play of how amazing they are.
Well, and if we don't get to Nomad's Land this time, then maybe before our Wish Cruise in July, we can go to Animal Kingdom and have fun.
Okay.
We'll be there 2 days prior, too, so hopefully we'll be able to meet up with you guys.
Meet up.
Yeah. All right, Christy, any follow thoughts before we get out of here? I know you've got Princess Half Marathon weekend coming up this weekend. I want to wish you all the best with your 2 runs, but any final thoughts for this show? It'll come out after that.
No. So I guess everybody watching live in our Patreon group, thank you for wishing me luck. Put all the good vibes out this weekend.
You're going to do great.
And I guess I will say the one other thing that I didn't really touch on, maybe I did say this, but there are some great rates on those Wonder sailings out of San Diego. So if you're looking to sail off the West Coast, there's some really good rates out there. If you don't have a travel agent, we always recommend you working with a travel agent. Helps support small businesses. But if people want to reach out to you, Chrissy, how can they reach out to you?
You can find me at Pack Your Pixie Dust all over the internet. So you can even go to packyourpixiedust.com, or you can find me on social media under that handle, and I would be happy to work with you and help you get booked.
Yeah, and if you need any land and sea tips, you can book through Christy, and I'll let you know what we would do in terms of Disneyland versus getting down to San Diego, because there's a really cool vacation somewhere in there if you do Disneyland combined with a cruise.
Which needs to be an episode. So that's going to be a future episode. So Absolutely. How do you combine it? Let's talk about transportation. So that's going to be an episode for all of that. I wanted to plug one more thing for me really quick, if you don't mind. We fixed something on my website. So if somebody wanted to do their Amazon shopping and give Pack Your Pixie Dust a very tiniest, smallest little commission, I would appreciate it. So it is packyourpixiedust.com // whatever the slash. So packyourpixiedust.com/Amazon or dash. Oh my God, you guys, I'm so tired. -Amazon. And it's your same normal Amazon page, and I can make a small commission. We appreciate it.
Thanks everybody for coming back and taking a listen. This is a fun show talking about a whole bunch of different things about the Disney Wish, the Disney Wonder, and the fact that I cannot eat as much food as I used to be able to eat because those sides were huge.
They are.
And you can't bring them back to the room easily.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming back and taking a listen, and we'll see you next time on the DCL podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Well, that's going to wrap up our Cabanas episode for March. This is kind of a new show. Trying to always come up with some different ideas to bring some different shows to you where we cover a whole bunch of different topics. On this one, we talked about the Disney Wonder returning to the West Coast for an extended period of time. Some of the new things coming to the Disney Wish, and then we finished it up talking about Palo and kind of the serving sizes when you do the a la carte offerings. Well, if you've enjoyed this show and you know others who would enjoy it as well, we sure hope you would pass it along. That helps us get a little bit better known in the Disney cruising, and the Disney podcasting community in general. As always, we'd like to give a huge shout out to our Patreon supporters. They help bring this show to you each and every week ad-free. If you want to learn more about our Patreon program, you can go to patreon.com/DCL podcast and find out all the information there. Well, spring break is quickly approaching. If you and your family are heading out on a Disney cruise, headed down to Walt Disney World, over to Disneyland, or just heading out at Adventures by Disney, on behalf of myself, Steve, Christy, and Chris, all of us here at the DCL podcast, we want to wish you to be well. Enjoy the time you have traveling with each other, and we'll see you next time on the DCL podcast.
The DCL podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.